According to this treasure hunting app, there is treasure in my backyard from a previous era right here. What? No way. Well, the app says that there's more treasure over there.
Honey, grab the shovel.
Well, hey everyone, and welcome back to Tactical Review. So, last time we took a look at my Palmetto State Armory AK-47 GF3. We were installing the Chaos USA Titan dust cover rail. And I mentioned in that video that even though the Palmetto State Armory rail dust cover was a couple millimeters taller than the Chaos USA unit, I wasn't that concerned about it. And here's the reason why. Alright, I'm a longtime AR guy. And the fact of the matter is, now this back here is all really comfortable, but this is just kind of a short grip for me. Now I do have it set up to where I'm able to actuate flashlight with my thumb. That's all good and fine, but I'd really like to get just a little bit further out here. And of course, doing this, well, that would get really warm. So going back kind of to the roots of the channel, where I grabbed that NC Star Vism M-LOK handguard for my AR, I sourced an AIM Sports M-LOK handguard for the AKM. So we'll unbox this right here. It's literally the handguard and some Allen keys and a Torx key, and that's it. Not even a little bit of instructions. So this is where we give the typical disclaimer when it comes to working with an AK platform, and that is it takes a bit of mechanical inclination to do any kind of customization on the AK platform, much more so than something like an AR-15 or a Glock. If you are not comfortable working with hand tools and possibly voiding warranties on your firearms, make sure to take it to a licensed gunsmith. And they may still void the warranty on your firearm, but at least they'll be comfortable doing so. Alright, so we're going to get into this. And the first thing you're going to need to do is get whatever handguard that you already have off of the weapons platform. Now there's going to be some variations on that, so I'm going to let you do some of that figuring out for yourself. One thing that will be consistent across the board is that you are going to need to remove the internals of your rifle. This dust cover always fights with me. Alright, take out your bolt and carrier, which obviously then pulls the gas piston out of the gas tube. If you don't have the Chaos USA unit, remember your gas tube lever will just stay where it is. Alright, we're going to take off our gas tube. I'm going to go ahead and take off the Chaos rail. Alright, and then you've got a little lever right here that holds your handguard retainer in place. Now mine is probably going to be a little bit more difficult to work with than yours by virtue of the fact that I have painted my barrel, although I've been wrong before. Oh no, my woes are caused by having the 550K cord here. Alright, with my flashlight mount out of there, handguard comes right off, and then your upper handguard will just rotate around and eventually come out of the retaining plates. There is a notch left in the left-hand side of the AIM Sport rail so that you can maintain your sling mount. We'll have to play with this a little bit and see how it works. Now, the real beauty of this system, it's super ingenious, is that back here you can see that that bit is wedged so that as you tighten the screw that's in here, this is going to push out against your receiver and hold this back end in place. So let's get started, shall we? First thing we're going to need to do is take the upper handguard off. And in order to do that, we will use the included Torx driver. And I guess I should have pointed out clear back in the beginning, this is the long model of the AIM Sports handguard. They also have a short version, which I'm going to guess would be about the same as the M-LOK handguard that I had on my rifle. And then they've got a medium version. So the long appears like it is going to give the illusion of a free float barrel on a full carbine length barrel. Finding the lengths on these as far as specifications was a little bit difficult. I wish I could help you guys out there a little bit more. If you need an exact measurement, I would say reach out to AIM Sports customer service and see what information they can give you. Right, with the upper handguard off, there is, I don't know if you can see it in there, there's a barrel clamp. So when I mentioned that this will give it a quasi free float look, that's why I mentioned that, because we are going to be clamping around the barrel. Basically, that's how the original front end retainer worked anyway. Just know that this isn't going to, free float your AK and give you all of that awesome accuracy from reducing barrel harmonics and all of those things. Is AK, and in spite of Rob Ski hitting with irons out to 600 yards, it's the 7.62 cartridge, 7.62 by 39 cartridge isn't meant to be a multi-hundred meter cartridge. You're 200 and in. Go ahead and tell me I'm wrong down in the comments. Alright, so there's our lower handguard. And one concern that I had is obviously there's a lot more rail to the AIM Sports unit. I was concerned that weight was going to be an issue, and obviously it does weigh more than the Palmetto State Armory unit that it's replacing. That said, it only weighs about 100 grams more for this 13-ish inch rail versus this short rail that came with my particular AK, or that you can order through the Palmetto State Armory store. And it only weighs about, I think it was 30 grams more than the Chaos USA quad rail that I opted to not use. So there again, I don't know if those numbers affect any choices you might make, but there they are. Step one, I think I probably need to get the receiver block out of here. It's held in place with 3 Allen screws. Again, this was a brand new unit. You saw me take it out of the box. It came with 0 instructions. So I'm making it all up as I go. There's also no torque specs on any of this. So I'm going to use the German torque measurement of Gutentite, and I'm going to just make sure to use thread locker. Alright, we'll loosen this wedge block down, or loosen it up, so that the wedge ears can go in. Slide that into the receiver and tighten that. And with this being a wedging screw, I did not put thread lock on this because my assumption is that the mechanical tension will keep this from backing out. Alright, good and tight. Next I will determine where I need my handguard retainer so that my sling protrudes the way I need it to. And there's a bit of a cutout in here, but I do notice that puts the handguard retainer too far forward to actually use the lock. So that is going to stay loose. Another thing I'll keep you posted on. I nearly forgot my barrel block. And some of the reviewers said that the barrel block was too large to clamp on their particular rifle. I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys, with the PSA GF3, it doesn't appear that I'm going to have that issue, but your mileage will vary. You may have to shim the barrel on your particular rifle. And these receiver block screws ended up really snug towards the back of the countersunk holes in the handguard. The nice thing is that's going to pull that handguard back against the receiver. Alright, it might be a mistake, but I am going to thread lock these screws. Again, torque spec is good and tight. Don't crank it up. Don't crank them down until you spin things off. Don't put so little tension on them that they're not going to hold. I wish I could be more specific than that. I bought a calibrated, torque screwdriver so that I didn't have to use torque specs like that, but sometimes it is what it is. Alright, with that snug down, we can now get this barrel clamp tightened. Again, I'm going to use some blue thread lock. The fact of the matter is that that's probably going to get hot enough that it's not going to do anything, but I'll feel better knowing I've got some thread lock in there. And I'm going to guess that using hand tools that you're not going to be able to clamp these down so tight that you deform your barrel. But I won't swear to that either. I know the definition of assume. So as always, any modification that you choose to perform on your firearm is your own responsibility. And then the screws holding the lower handguard to the barrel bracket, or barrel block, or whatever we're going to call it. Before we go any further, if we were to put the upper handguard on as is, we couldn't get our gas tube in there. So let's get our gas tube in place. And you notice we didn't have to take off any brackets or anything. Those fit nicely underneath. Given the more removable nature of the upper handguard, I'm going to use purple Loctite. I'm still going to Loctite these screws, or excuse me, thread lock. Loctite, not a sponsor. We're going to use purple thread lock on these screws so that we're less inclined to lose any of these screws out on the range. Alright, well, and now there you can see the AIM Sports Extended M-LOK handguard goes almost all the way to the front sight tower here on the PSA AK-47 GF3. Obviously, if you had something like an RH-10 that has the gas block front sight combo. The medium might work. You might have to stick with a short handguard on that. I'm not entirely certain. I am pretty happy with how it feels, and then that's going to let me get my flashlight out here even closer to the end, which is going to eliminate some barrel shadow and some situations like that. So there are some kind of tactical reasons why you might want to put an extended handguard on your AK. Now that said, if you were to try to run a flashlight very far back at all, the shadow off of this will be substantially worse than just the gas tube and barrel shadow that you had previously. Well, let's go ahead and put the rest of this back together, and so we can determine how well this AIM Sports handguard matches up with the Titan rail that I'm wanting it to work with. Well, it is subjective, but it definitely looks like this rail here is lower profile compared to the gas block than the previous one was, which then puts it more in line with the AIM Sports, or excuse me, which puts it more in line with the Chaos USA dust cover rail. If I really wanted to get specific, I could pop off my rear sight leaf and lay a straight edge across there. I don't care that much. Warsaw Patriot, who sold me the Chaos rail, he might care, but that's okay. At the end of the day, comrade is my rifle. So I appreciate you guys watching though. Obviously, I'm not able to link to firearms products. I will tell you that when I bought this in Q1 of 2021, I paid right at $100 shipped. I got mine from Primary Arms, not a sponsor. They are available at several vendors. This is the AK-04, and if you go to AIM Sports website, you can get the SKU from the short and the medium length handguards if that's what you need. Guys, I appreciate you watching. I appreciate your support of the channel that lets me do little projects like this. If you'd like to support the channel, the easiest and freest way to do that is go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, make sure you ring that notification bell so you see when I upload new content. And if you really want to just drive the YouTube algorithm crazy, go ahead and comment on the videos too. If you'd like to go a step beyond, you can also get yourself some channel merchandise, some t-shirts, stickers, things like that. You can get those at store.tacreview.com, and that helps support the channel just a little bit more directly. And then finally, the most direct way to support the channel is, of course, at Patreon or Subscribestar, where your dollars come directly to what we're doing here at Tactical Review and help purchase accessories and ammunition and just getting us the stuff that we need to answer the questions that you guys have. If you're not following over on social media, you should be doing that. That username is Tactical Review 2019 at the platforms that you see on screen and linked in the description below. Go over there, you can interact more directly, do some direct messaging, and possibly, depending on how notifications are acting at the time, maybe have just that little bit better chance of catching my attention and getting a response. Guys, I appreciate the support you show the channel. Thanks for watching, and until next time, shoot straight, stay safe.